it's Anne-Marie. So today we are going to make the storage box that goes along with my Crafting is My Jam mini album that I made for Country Craft Creations. I had a few requests, a few questions about how I made the box, so I figured I'd do a quick tutorial to show you. And just as a reminder, if you haven't seen it, this is the little storage box that I made using Echo Park's I Heart Crafting. It was part of my design team project for January, again for Country Craft Creations. So I made this little storage box. I never intended for, or my original intention was not for to store the mini album in here, but it just worked out perfectly. So when you open it up, that little girl, she's so cute. It says Maker's Gonna Make. These are all stickers from the collection. And you could go back and watch that video. But this is my mini album. Let's set this aside. This is the mini album, and again, I won't flip through it here. You can go back and watch that video. But this is the storage box. It's got some pretty flower lace that I had in my stash, and this is one of the cut aparts. It says never underestimate a woman with a glue gun, and then I Heart Crafting, and again it's just a basic storage box. And so let's jump in and make this real quick. Okay, some of the things you're going to need when I make boxes or like a 3D project, I create what I didn't name these, somebody somewhere along the line named these construction strips. And what these are just pieces of craft cardstock. Again, if your chipboard that you're going to make the box with is black, you can use black paper. Really doesn't matter what color this is because this is going to get covered by the pattern paper. So what you want to do, I used 8.5 by 11. You can use 12 by 12, but cut yourself a bunch of strips that are 1 inch by whatever length paper or whatever length your project is, and then put it in your scoreboard and score it 1/2 inch, each one at 1/2 inch. And then I just added score tape. You can use wet glue if you want, but I am an impatient crafter, so for this I use score tape. So I'm not sure how many I need. I had 8 of them. I always have a supply of these on hand. I keep in this little storage thing over here on my desk. So anyway, so get yourself a bunch of these. And then the chipboard that you'll need, I'm going to make this a little bit, this sample, a little bit taller and just 1/4 inch wider than this one, because I don't know if you noticed when I took it out, I felt like I had to struggle to get the book down inside the box. So anyway, so you're going to want one piece that's 7 1/4 by 9 1/4. Then, actually you can cut yourself 2 of those. And then what I did was, this is the bottom, and then the top of the box, as you can see, has right here, you can cut yourself another one that's 7 1/4 by 9 1/4. And then I trimmed it down to 2 inches by 7 1/4. And then this becomes 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. So as you can see, that's going to be the, if you want to call it, the hinge for where the box opens. I think you get that. Okay, then you're going to want 2 pieces for the sides that are 3 by 9 1/4. And then for the top and the bottom of the box, or the back and the front of the box, 2 pieces that are 3 by 7 1/4. And then I also, which I don't know where it went, if you have a lightweight chipboard, for this little flappy doodle thing, I use just a regular medium weight chipboard, but you can, I don't know if you can tell. So, see how that sticks out a little, like right there? I don't really like that. That's probably a better view of it. So I would suggest if you have like a cereal box weight chipboard, this is actually just a backer from a 6x6 paper pad. It's really lightweight. It's still chipboard, but it's very lightweight. You can see it bends really easily, whereas this doesn't bend as easily. if that makes sense. So anyway, I cut this down to 4.5 or 3 by 4.5. Okay. All right, let's get started. So we're going to take our bottom piece that's 7 1/4 by 9 1/4. Grab one of your construction strips. You can see it's a little bit long. Oh, maybe you can't see. It's a little bit longer because I did 8.5 by 11, and I actually trimmed it down. But anyway, so when you fold your construction strip and add your score tape, we're going to go ahead, and then you can go ahead and miter the corners or just trim a little bit off. Give yourself that nice angle. Okay, and then all we're going to do, I'm going to turn mine this way. We're going to go ahead, hope you can see this, and put this right along the edge, put that fold right along the edge of the chipboard. Okay, then we're just going to trim off that excess. All right. And then just move over to the other side. It's probably a good idea to measure it first and trim it off. And miter your corner. This actually is very easy to do. It feels a little awkward at first, the very first time you make one, but as I always say, you'll be a pro in no time. Again, we're going to put that edge, that folded edge, right along the edge of the chipboard, so that gives you an idea of what we're doing there. Okay? And don't throw this away because you can use that. Then I'm just going to take 2 at a time, and I'm going to cut this down, miter my corners, okay. So again, we're taking that edge and we're just lining it up right along the edge. Oops, mine's a little bit too long. I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. Okay. So you see we added the third. In my effort to try to be neater so that you can't see what a messy crafter I am, I think I'm just making it worse for you. So let's line that back up. That's a little short right there. Right there. That, to me, that's no big deal. If it bothers you, you could cut another small piece, but I don't think... Did I put that on upside down? I sure did put that on upside down. Ah! See? See what happens when you're not paying attention? Okay. Pardon me while I perform some emergency surgery. It's supposed to go on this side. It's still a little bit sticky, but I'm going to add a little more score tape to that. Oh, by the way, this tool, this you could see it's been well loved. This is actually the spatula that came from my Cricut Expression, I think is the one I have. Yeah, I never used it with the Cricut. I use it to perform emergency surgery whenever I do something wrong. So, anyway, okay, so we're going to just pretend like we didn't even see that happen. All right. So now we have, where's my bone cutter? Now we have the first set of strips on. And let's just give it a good burnish. Okay. So now we're going to flip that over. Okay. I'm just making sure I get a good fold. So then you're going to want to take your two sides. Oops, my fingers, work with me. Well, I suppose you could. Actually, I prefer to do it this way. So you're going to want to take your one side, we'll call it the right side, butt it right up against the right side of your bottom, of your, the base, box base. Holy moly. Okay, so you're going to line it up, just butt it right up against it, and then just stick it down. Just give it a good burnish, and you'll see. So there you have your first side of your box. Okay, and then let's come over here and do the same on the left-hand side. One thing I find is really helpful too is if you have a scoreboard, if you just set this up in the corner of your scoreboard, nothing moves around, and you can line it up perfectly with the top and bottom. It's a big help to me. I know it doesn't appear that way today, but really it is. Okay, stick that down. So it comes together really, really quickly. So we're going to turn it. This is the top part of my box. So now you're going to want one that is one of your 3 by 7 1/4 inch. And again, you can line it up in the corner of your scoreboard. Oh, but it's a little too wide, so I'm going to have to do it myself. Okay. Just make sure you don't have any overlap. There we go. My camera's shaking. Something must be loose. Don't know. Alright, and then we're going to do one more. Line that up. Actually, I need to trim a little bit. I have a little bit of overhang right here. Okay. Line up those edges. There we go. Alright, so you can see how this is coming together pretty quickly. Everything lines up beautifully. So next what we're going to do is add some construction strips to these sections right here. So I have these from earlier. So I'm just going to cut these down. These should be about 3 inches or so. So I'm going to need 4. There's 2. 3. And 4. Give them a little miter. Okay. And then we're just going to do the exact same thing we did on the longer ends. We're going to, let me get this in the picture. You're going to just take the edge, the folded edge of your construction strip, and line it up right with that short edge on the side of your box. Okay, and as you can see, this is going to lift up, and then that's going to hold it together. You can also, if you would like, if you prefer, you could also put the construction strip on the outside. So you see how that it would hold it together on the outside. But again, it's going to be covered with pattern paper, so I don't mind them being on the inside. Oops, no, actually, let's do it this way first. Put all the sides on. There's 2. And these construction strips, if you make a lot of 3D projects, which I don't, I like to make them, but I just don't do it very often. I used to do more, but I would just take a bunch of 8.5 by 11 paper and then go sit down in front of the TV or put Netflix on my computer or something and just make myself construction strips. Alright, so here's the last one. Okay, so as we always say, make sure you burnish the school tape really well. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and form the box. So I'm going to start up here in my left-hand corner. Remove the backing, and then I hope you can see this. So, so here's the construction strip. So what I do is I just bring the two edges together, and then on the inside, oh, it's a good shot, and then you just stick it down, and that forms the beginning of your box. Okay, so let's move over to this one. And if you're using glue, you would just put the glue on, the wet glue on here. But like I said, I'm a little impatient. I don't like to wait for glue. Okay, so you can see that lines right up. You come inside here and just stick it down. I know you can't see it. There you go. So, all right. So we have half a box, or most of the box. All right, and then I'm going to move to the next one. Oh, another piece of advice. Actually, you could cover these with pattern paper before you form the sides of the box. I don't know. I never do. It probably might make it easier, but I don't usually have an issue. So, but you could just do whatever works for you. Okay, the last one. And again, just bring those edges together and burnish it down. Oops. And you can see, there's your box. Awesome, right? Okay, let me get this stuff out of here because it's going to make me nuts. So next, let's take your lid. Sorry. Give me 1 second and drink my coffee. Okay, so let's take the lid where you have 7 1/4 by 7 1/4, and then you have 2 by 7 1/4. What we're going to do is just turn those over. Grab a construction strip. And cut that down. Okay. We're just making the little hinge that's going to hold it together. So again, let's do the same. The folded edge of the construction strip. Put that right up against the edge of the chipboard. Okay, then we take this piece, your 2 by 7 1/4, and line it up as straight as you can get it. Okay, so that creates your hinge. Let's bring the box over. That creates your hinge to cause your box. That helps your box open and close. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to add some construction strips to hold this onto the box. Uh-oh, do I need to make one more? No. Okay, so you need one for across the back. Oops. Let's add that. Oops. Miter your corner. I don't want to do this. One second. Actually, I think I want to do it. Remember I said earlier that didn't matter if you put the construction strip on the top or the on the inside or the outside. I think I'm going to choose this time to put it on the outside just to help give it a little bit of strength. I don't know if it'll be an issue, but we'll see. So again, get yourself a construction strip, cut it down to your 7 1/4. Let's add up the line, or the fold to the edge of the chipboard, which I'm off. Okay. Give it a good garnish. Okay, then you want to take your box. Again, doesn't matter which side is the front or the back yet because you haven't really done anything yet. And then just line this up. Oops. It gets a little wonky because of the lid. It feels a little wonky. So I just line up the edge of the lid with the edge of the chipboard. I hope you can see that. I will show you in a minute. Remove your backing. And then just stick that down as best you can. Let's give that a good burnish. And once you get the pattern paper on there, everything will come together. There you go. There's your, oh, you know what we forgot to do? Forgot to put the construction strips on this little 2-inch piece here. You knew it felt a little funny. All right, so we're going to come in here, cut yourself down. You should have plenty of scraps left if you're using the same size I am. Let's just miter our corners. Sorry, I was off camera. Okay. Just take that little piece, put it right up against the edge of that 2-inch piece here. And look at this side. And that helps give the lid some stability. I am really struggling on a Sunday. All right, now let's just add that in. And then what I want to do with this is put those construction strips on the inside. Okay, so let's take this. This can be a little tricky. You just take your time, make sure everything lines up. It helps to have the lid flapped open, and then just get in there with your bone folder or your finger and secure that down. And this one's a little bit tricky. Maybe I should have taken the tape off before I closed it. Okay. Why do these things always happen when the camera's rolling? When I'm sitting here by myself, never have any issues. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Let's add that in. All right. There you go. So see, now the only thing that moves is the lid. So you have this little paper hinge right here. I've had in the past some people say, well, it's only paper. What if the paper tears? You know, with normal wear and tear, as long as you don't have somebody, as long as nobody sits on your box or nobody, if you're not rough with it, it should never be an issue. So I am going to, before we add the front closure, I'm going to try and put my album in. Oh yeah, that extra 1/4 of an inch, look how easy that went in there. And you have that extra room. I didn't embellish it too much because I didn't want, you know, I think this one was, let me see, is this 2.5? Yes, this one I only made 2.5 inches tall. That extra 1/2 inch there, yeah, I probably should have done that. But anyway, so there's your basic box. Oh, and see how much easier it comes out. Oh, love it. All right, so let's put a closure on the front. There's many different types of closures you can use. But like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and do the same sort of closure I did originally. But what I'm going to do is take a bone folder. Because again, this is a lighter weight chipboard. And I'm just going to see if I can actually, let me use my desk. I know you can't see this, but I'll show you in a minute. Just going to curve it a little bit. Using that, you can tell my desk is shaking. So see, just curving it a little bit. Okay. Oh, that's much better. Doesn't necessarily need to be that wide. So that will hold that down. And what we're going to do is, if you have any of these basic gray magnets, which I love these. These are the large gray magnets. I know Country Craft Creations sells them in their store. You'll need 1 plus and 1 minus. Whoop, come on. These are, if you have nails at all, they're so hard to get out. But what we're going to do is take your, you don't necessarily need your closure to be this wide. What did I say this was, 3 inches? You can cut it down, but I kind of like the look of the wider, piece. But what I'm going to do is put some score tape on. Actually, no. Give me 1 second. I'm going to score this at 2 inches. Just give it a light score. Again, this is a lighter weight chipboard, so it scores pretty easily. Just to help it. There we go. Just to help it. And plus that helps tell me where to put the score tape. So, again, I would use a super strong adhesive on this part because this is going to take a lot of abuse. So I'm just going to put a few strips, because this is going to be opened and closed multiple times. I'm going to put a few strips of score tape on here to help hold it down. Okay. So what I just did there was I scored it on the, I think this is 4 inches, 4.5 inches on the long side. I scored it at 2 inches. Now I'm going to come over here on the front of the box. I'm just going to eyeball it, you know, to center it and put that score line right at the closure where the lid closes, and see how much, that's so much better than the one I originally did, because I think I used a construction strip, which caused it to bump out a little bit like that. You can't see it, so see, once I put the magnet on there, that'll hold it much, much better. Alright, so speaking of magnets, let's go ahead and, so you have the plus and the minus, they just put them together. And again, I would do this before you put your pattern paper down. So let's find the center here. The top center, or maybe, you know, a third of the way down. Sorry, a third of the way down. And we're going to remove this paper backing. Okay, close your box up. Make sure it's all nice and straight. Oh, much better than the original one. Much better. So thanks everybody for asking me to redo it. All right, that should have held. Look up. There we go. All right. So I don't trust that that magnet's going to stay there after you put the pattern paper in. So I always put a piece of score tape on to kind of anchor it in place. And then I'll do the same over here. And again, nobody's going to see it because you're going to put pattern paper on it to cover it. All right. And that is your storage box. So, yeah, that took 30 minutes. You know, 20 of it was probably me talking. My caffeine is just kicking in. So there's your storage box, and then you can just go ahead and cut down your pattern paper. A couple of suggestions. You can actually, if this is 3 inches wide, I would cut the pattern paper to 4 inches and then wrap a 1/2 inch over on that side and on this side. Or if you don't want to have to wrap it, you can actually take some white acrylic paint or gesso and paint the edges, and you can leave yourself a nice little white border. I think it, you know, or you can ink the chipboard. It all depends on the pattern paper that you're using and the look that you're looking for. I think if you're looking for shabby chic, I would definitely gesso or white acrylic paint the edges. So there's your box. The finished dimensions, I forgot that quick, are 7 1/4 by 9 1/4 by 3 inches. So I hope this was helpful for you all. As always, at any time, feel free to call me if you, call me. I mean, you can call me if you have my number, but feel free to reach out to me either on Facebook or, you know, the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. I'd be happy to help you out with any questions that you have, or, you know, if you do make this project. I know that this is actually a swap this month coming up, so I can't wait. I'm so excited to see what everybody makes. So yeah, so everybody have a great day. Happy Sunday. Boo, we all have to go back to work tomorrow. I know that stinks. I don't want to. But anyway, have a good day, everybody, and I will be back a little bit later today. I got my next design team kit. I'm over the moon about that one. I don't know what to say. Anyway, talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.